Here is how the scheduling works. Basically, I can just type something and select a time. Maybe let me just select for 05 and let me schedule it. Basically, this is being posted at exactly the time I selected. I can select 10 days into the future or any time into the future. Currently, it's just showing 10 days because I was just doing it for testing purposes. But you can also like post for in a month, or you can schedule it any time. And at that particular time, it will be posted to your social media. And let me just show you how exactly I have did this feature. I did this feature or wrote this feature. And you can also see over here there is a schedule, and it is scheduled at 19:15 at my 19:05 at my local time, and here it should be hitting the URL soon. And one more important thing is this is not completely precise. This can be approximately from 30 seconds to 2 minutes of delay. So this is not completely precise. If you want to use AWS and have a completely precise, like very millisecond precise timing, you need to use step functions. But if you want to do it quickly and don't want a lot of complexity, then you can use the new feature of AWS, which I'm going to show you, which is EventBridge schedulers. And here is how it works. Let me just show you. So, so here is how it works. Basically, I create an event scheduler, then it invokes the Lambda function at particular time. Lambda function, which is on AWS, and this Lambda function just sends the request to my server, which executes the function. So there is nothing much done using this Lambda function. I just give it a URL and it hits the URL at that particular time. So here is how to create this function. Basically, to create event scheduler in CDK, there are two types of event schedulers. One is recurring and one is one time off. Let me just show you how I created single time event scheduler, which is like it executes then gets deleted. Or else you can also create like recurring schedule, which occurs at regular intervals. I'll link to the blog post which I have written where you can completely get the details. But here I'll just show you how to just hit the URL and then delete the scheduler, because at particular instance you can only have 1 million schedulers. So after 1 million schedulers, you can also obviously request for Amazon for more, but you can only have 1 million schedulers. After it executes the Lambda function, there is no use of that scheduler. So basically deleting it is the best thing. So to create that, firstly, you need to create a Lambda function, which needs to be invoked. Lambda function. Then you need to create a policy. Basically, you need to create a policy which has permission to invoke this Lambda. So basically, in this policy, you're saying that, okay, you have the permission to invoke this particular Lambda function. Yeah, good. And then you will assign this policy to a IAM role. So you will create a role to which IAM role to which you will assign this policy or give this policy, whatever it is. And this IAM role, you're going to assign it to our scheduler. So our scheduler basically has the permission to invoke the Lambda function. So this is our scheduler, and you're going to give permission to it. For the scheduler, you'll need two things. One is ARN of your Lambda function and ARN of your IAM role. So you will need these two things. Let me just show you the CDK implementation of this part. And this part I'm using SDK because CDK is a one-time thing. Once you deploy it and it will run and it will go off. So to create these schedulers, I need to create based on user input. So this is done using SDK, for which I will need to take the ARNs from deploying these things into the CDK. Once these are deployed, I don't need to create them every time, each and every time. These are just one-time things. So I can create it using CDK. First thing, you can create your Lambda function this way. Basically, you are assigning the runtime, then you are giving it the handler, and here is the code. So it's under directory Lambda, and you can invoke scheduler.handler. Let me just show you my Lambda function. Here is my Lambda function, and I just assigned it any for now, so don't mind me. So here is my Lambda function. What it basically does is it just hits the URL and that's it. And before deploying, remember to just build this to JS file so that it executes properly, because JS is much simpler for like for your Lambda to use. So just build it before deploying it. And here is the role. So just create this role where you give it, this is the role for scheduler.amazon aws.js. Basically, it's the role you are giving for your EventBridge, and this is the policy. So you're giving it the permission to invoke this Lambda function. So directly you can assign the ARN, which is from Lambda scheduler, and then you attach this policy to the scheduler role. So now you can give this scheduler role to your Lambda function, and to know the ARN of the scheduler role and to know the ARN of this Lambda, you can just log it, use cdk.cnf out and log these two values. So you will get these two ARN values while you're deploying it, and just copy them into your instance. Then you can install your SDK for scheduler and just create something like this. Just install the scheduler and create your instance. Then you can create a schedule event. It takes the time. Then scheduler name and URL. So what it basically does is it takes the data. It has this payload, and it gives it to the Lambda function. So I have my ARN of Lambda function. This is the Lambda function or the target ARN, and this is the role ARN. Basically, this is the IAM role for your scheduler, and this is the input or the payload, and action after completion delete. Basically, you want to delete this, and this is my scheduler expression. Basically, you can I will link the docs. You can check. I'm just giving it in the proper format that AWS want, which is this format. So, and my time zone is UTC. I'm converting it to UTC, getting the format ready, and giving it this. And one more important part to remember is that it should have unique name for each and every individual schedule you are creating. So my every post ID is unique. So I'm just giving it schedule for post/post ID. So it creates a unique, and just you can run it using scheduler.create schedule and give this input. It's as simple as that. It will create the input and it will hit your URL whenever it is ready. That's it. Thank you.